and we are back with a special Sunday edition. It is AussieVerse. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, collectors of all ages, welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us here today. It is OmniBeau, joined by my partner in crime, Sharif, that Comx guy, Sizzle, and making his debut to AussieVerse, it is the one, the only, Morgan the Quaid, and for his Kickstarter, the Blood Below. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here among the other AussieVerse people. I don't know what you call yourselves. You probably don't have a name for it, but super glad to be here.
We need some sort of like nickname thing. I don't know what. AussieVerses? No, that's too long. If you do want to give us an idea for that, why don't you hit us up on Instagram, where we can be found at AussieVerse_Comx. No, seriously, give us ideas. And then you can also check out our graphic designer, A51_designs. That is all the loving I got today. Let's get down to some more plug-in, because that is why we are here. Morgan, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day for joining us here today. Tell the world who you are.
My name is Morgan Quaid. I was born at a young age in the city of Melbourne, a long time ago. Yeah, so I am a writer of words and stuff. Spetsy, comics, graphic, Claudia, Nick, all the people.
AussieVerse.
AussieVerse. Yeah, that works. So I'm a writer of stuff and all the things, comics, graphic novels, screenplays, the novels. I couldn't remember what novels were called, which is amazing at this stage in my illustrious career that I forgot what a novel was called, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so having a lot of fun, running Kickstarters and talking to awesome people like you chaps, and that's about it. That's me.
Fantastic. Well, I haven't known you personally. Let me rephrase that. I have known of you for a little while, because you and I did a little show a little while ago. I stepped in to help Sizzle once upon a time, and I found you to be a very humorous fellow, a very musical fellow, a very knowledgeable fellow in the things that he is knowledgeable about. Is that what I'm? No, that didn't make sense. The point that I'm getting at is that was a while ago, and since then I've wanted you on the show, and you haven't been, because I simply haven't asked. I don't think you've asked, which leads me to another point. Community out there, if you have an Australian Kickstarter and you want, not even if you don't have an Australian Kickstarter, you just want to be on the show to talk or promote stuff, please don't wait for us to reach out to you. Please reach out to us, because we're going to say yes. But back to you, Morgan. The thing that I've always loved about you, mate, is that you've helped out AussieVerse behind the scenes with a couple of things. One thing I'll show later. And I really sincerely appreciate that, mate, because you have never needed to. AussieVerse has nothing to do with you, and you have gone out of your way to help us. So big ups to you, man.
Pleasure.
Sharif,
Pleasure.
Have you had a chance to check out the Blood Below at all? Say yes.
Only some of the artwork. Not the full thing on Kickstarter yet. But I am which is a good thing, because then now I'm curious what it's all about. So I'm here for the ride for today.
Fantastic.
Great answer. Perfect answer.
Let's let's go have a look, shall we?
Ooh.
Do. That's my share screen music. Do. Okay, there we go.
Nice.
Nothing unusual about a 4 a.m. call to a back alley in downtown Kenton. A young woman lying pristine and unmarked on the cold, hard ground. I get to work quickly, but there's not much to go on here. No marks of any kind, no signs of struggle, just a dead Vic in the middle of an alley. And then there's that. Dead body in a dumpster that looks like a grizzly bear has crawled its way out of his stomach.
crime and investigation and such. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. That was a really cool video. I am Brad Daniels. I really hope you're not watching this, Brad Daniels, because I didn't press play on your Kickstarter, and I feel really horrible for that, man. Because that just really made it look really, really cool. Okay, so Morgan, take us through it, mate.
All right. So, The Blood Below is a crime horror fiction story, a bit of a thriller with strong horror and weird elements, if I can put it that way. So it very quickly goes weird. It starts off with 2 dead bodies in an alley, a detective named Nick Holden, the world's most unimaginatively named detective, investigating the whole thing. But the premise of it is he finds with one of the dead bodies these lenses, these contact lenses that are all the rage, and they basically enhance your vision for a period of 30 years or so. So they're long lasting and they can just correct your vision and everything, but they're incredibly expensive. He finds these, has this wackadoodle idea. I'm going to try and see what the old thing, I'll see through the eyes of the victim. So he puts these on his eye, and then he realizes as that happens that he's seeing weird stuff and starting to see into sort of a weird spiritual realm. And then the weirdness kind of goes from there and gets very weird. It interacts with dreams and dream worlds and another reality and the whole thing. And he's also trying to obviously solve the murder of these 2 victims. And that's the dude with the bung eye after the... So the story is what happens is he tries to put both lenses in a toilet, in a police toilet with the butter knife, so he doesn't use the proper equipment or anything. And someone, taps him on the back and he accidentally stuffs one up and jams one in too quickly. And so it's a little bit of comedy in there. Anyway, so there are 5 covers on offer. It's full color. It's 128 pages. This is sort of book 1, and then book 2 will come a little later. It is one of my favorite characters to write for. That's the guy there, Nick Holden, because he is just super foul-mouthed and says and does whatever he wants, which is amazing and very cathartic to write. That's him having a go. I kid you not, the first page, that's him having a go at the pigeons. You'll see why. It's the whole thing. The artist is Willie Roberts. He's a great mate of mine. He Argentinian artist, great artwork all the way through. The colors are really great. And because it was the same artist all the way through, it's nice and consistent, which is really, really cool. And murder and such. And then the page that you see coming up is kind of like one of the big first splash pages, which is a guy with a hole in his chest. Oh my God, he's dead! Yeah. And you'll see
pages as well, man. That's huge.
It could be all right. That's a CPR.
It's a big one. Yeah, it's basically 4 issues, 4 large size issues together in one awesome book. And this is where a little bit of a murder dungeon vibe going into this one, and then we very quickly go into the weirdness. This it's basically, I hate to be the guy that says this because every creator does this, but this is part of an overarching umbrella universe, and this is one of the pillars. It's part of a big series of books and novels and all that sort of stuff, and this is kind of one story that sort of goes through that. There we go. He's cracked the lens, and it all goes from there. Whoa, strangeness and such.
Yeah, this looks really cool.
Ooh.
And there are some a lot of action, a lot of horror kind of elements come in, but it's not horror. It's not traditional kind of, hack and slash horror. And there's some really cool scenes, some really cool characters. That guy's really cool. There's a bit I didn't include in here, but I've been putting a few things up on social media, and it's you kind of trade in big toes with that guy that you saw, the big green guy. It's kind of the currency that his kind deal in. So the detective has to give the guy a severed big toe to get anything done. It's okay. So it's fine. There's a little bit of weirdness in there. Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Awesome. Let's check out these rewards here. So you start at $15 digital edition, 45 for the 45 for cover A or B.
Yeah.
55 for C and D. $65 for E or $210 for the whole,
It's a lot.
Whole bunch.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Cool. Yeah, that's mad.
Yeah, so big collector's stuff, all that sort of bizzo in there, depending on what you want. It's pretty standard,
I'm going to have to upgrade my pledge, I've just realised, because I got the digital version and I actually want this in physical now, especially if it's an overarching storyline.
It's an umbrella. It's the whole thing. Well, so this is the other thing. Any Aussie backer that backs the campaign will also get a free physical cover. If you back physical, you get physical. If you back digital, you get digital of A Blade in the Dark, which is coming out from Scout in Scout Comics in next month, soon. Anyway, so I've got I think about 20 copies of those. So any Aussies that are interested, now's the time to get in. I do it with Aussies and not anyone else because obviously postage is a bit of a killer, but not for Aussies. It's also being printed in Australia and the US of A. So it's the postage is cheaper for wherever you are, unless you're in Norway or somewhere like that. Sorry. That's what it is. And there's a bunch of add-ons. So the idea as well, if you're a collector type person and you want sort of 2 of the covers, but not the rest, you can just get those 2 covers as add-ons. I've also got a uber massive ultimate digital bundle, which has, I don't know how many books, basically everything I've got in one hit. Crimson Folly, which was a campaign that I ran earlier. Shadow's Daughter, another campaign. Enmity, another campaign. So there's a series of books there. If you miss them and you wanted to pick those up as well, you could do that. And that is my face, which is everywhere. There we go. And that's it. That is The Blood Below.
Okay, Sharif, I'm going to put you in the hot seat. If you had to make a decision right now, which you do, and you had to get one cover and one cover only, which one tickles your fancy straight off the bat?
Either the third one with the double vision or the sun in the background. That one, C or D, I guess. Yeah, so that's C.
Yeah.
And or D.
I kind of like this.
Yeah, I like the last one.
I like that. Although this is a very ominous feel to it as well, doesn't it? She's just chilling out. But
something's just looming in the background.
she is an amazing character, that one. Yeah, she's pretty cool.
And this one is very like movie poster sort of feel, which I did as well.
Yeah, it's actually, so the story is based off a novel. So there's a lot there, and it's kind of a compressed version of the story. So I already know how it all ends and all of that sort of stuff. But this is
this a novel you've written?
Yes, yeah. So it's a novel with the same title. But the problem is, if you read that, you find it all out ahead of time, and there's no pictures. It's just many words, which is not the same thing. Yeah, I know.
How big of a cast are we looking at for this story?
It's fairly, because of my inability to remember stuff. I tend to keep cast pretty small. So you've got the main detective and his offsider. Without giving too much away, something happens and the offsider is kind of taken out of the picture, and then that girl that you saw with the ominous sort of creature, she comes in and becomes kind of a pseudo partner. So they're the main 3. And then you have a figure who's kind of like the kind of the head honcho, telling them what needs to happen, and is sort of introducing them into the crazy world that they're now all a part of, that they didn't sort of realize. And then you have a few ancillary characters that are they kind of get creepier as it goes creepier and weirder as they go along. So it starts off fairly like, oh yeah, that's just a normal thing, and then there's the one with the toe is a bit like, what is going on here, and that gets very weird very, very quickly. Then right at the end of the book, there is a character that's introduced that makes you just think, okay, so the next book is going to be super, super weird then. Okay, good. I'm hoping that, because you can't always be original, and sometimes you don't have to be original. That's fine. But my hope is that there are things in here that you've just never seen. That's the goal, is that it's gripping, it's interesting, there's a really good story, but there's also just stuff in there that you think, no, I've never seen someone trade in big toes for information. That's a unique take on how to solve crime. Anyway.
So one of the things that I noticed straight away was the very low, what's the word I'm looking for? The price point? No, not the price point. The goal. The amount that you needed. Help me out here. The goal, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Target.
Thank
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is that? I don't know how these things work, but that surprised me, obviously. Yeah.
Oh wow! Yeah, I just saw it.
Yeah. It's for two reasons. One is a marketing reason, and one is a very practical. Well, they're both practical reasons. So the one reason is the artwork is done, the books are done. It's one of the projects I've been working on for a while, but it's kind of been sitting while I've been waiting for other things to go, and the artist has had to kind of move on to other projects. So I've been in a holding pattern, not kind of knowing, do I release issue by issue, or do I just combine, or do I? And then I was thinking, putting it in this form makes sense. It's more bang for buck for people, and I like having the story as a big sort of chunk rather than, you get one issue and then you got to wait 3 months or whatever in another. And so that was one, is that because it's all done, I just want to get it into as many hands as possible. So there's no blockers to getting it printed. I just need to get the word out there and get it in people's hands and all that sort of stuff. So having a low goal just means I can get there very quickly. And then so people will be confident, all right, well, I'm definitely going to get the book then. So it was 10 minutes and it was past that. It was like $200.
Yeah.
So people could just know, all right, I'm basically buying a book then. I'm not just hoping that this gets over the line, which is that's one way to do it. The other way is that you don't produce the thing until you get the funds, and you do that sort of part way through, which is perfectly legitimate. I'm just too impatient. And so I've already spent all of the money on getting everything ready, which is a bit of a foolish thing to do if you up front, but that's kind of the way I did it. The other thing is, from a marketing standpoint, people want the confidence to know that the project is going ahead. So there is a portion of people that just won't back a campaign if it's not over the line, because they're a bit worried, or their first timers at Kickstarter, they don't know how it works, and they're thinking, well, it's not even funded yet, and it could be, there's 5 days to go or something. So it just gets all of that out of the way, and people can decide, do I want it or do I not want it? Because it's definitely going to go ahead. They were the main reasons. There are other campaigns that I'll be running in the future that will be slightly different. They'll be more traditional, where there's a decent goal that I have to sort of hit. But with these, I just wanted to get them into people's hot little hands. So really small target, and then get it out there. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Cool.
And that's exactly how I felt when, because I just started with backing Kickstarter projects fairly recently, and that was one of the things that was at the top of my mind. If I back, I put my money in, and then it doesn't go through with it, because I have read on certain threads that certain projects were just on hold for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and the backers still haven't gotten their books yet. And
it does happen, and it's really soul destroying when it happens. There's either that, or there's the you back it and it just takes forever to come through, or you just don't hear back from the person. It is fairly rare these days, and Kickstarter's done a pretty good job of, you basically look back and you can see the track record. And most creators now, like I'll say, under risks and challenges, I'll say, look, I've run 6 campaigns, never had an issue getting them fulfilled, always on time. So people have a bit of confidence, once you've done that. But it's hard if you're first time and you there are certain, that's why having the low goal and those sort of things, it sort of gives them a bit more confidence that, this is going to happen, and it's, it's all legit and it looks good. You'll see a few there, a few first timers, and the amount of information is really small, and it's not super clear, and it's like, I'm going to do a thing, and it's going to be great, and it's so awesome. But what are you doing though, dude? Like, what's the actual thing that you're doing, and when am I going to get it, and what does it look like? And there's a bit of a thing, I think, as well. There's this balance between showing the artwork and not showing it, and it's this thing where you've got to show the artwork, and you've got to show really good artwork. You don't want to withhold everything really good, because otherwise you're just not going to get people in. But by the same token, you don't want to give the whole thing away, and then, well, I've already seen it. No need to buy the digital copy for me. I've already read it all. Click.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no option to pay for the Kickstarter before it's the date's ended, is there? You've just committed to that.
You've just committed to it.
Yeah.
It's a
there's
painful
no financial
thing.
loss, but there's no financial loss to people that have said, I'm going to pay $50 towards this, and then they just keep waiting a year or two. Correct?
Yeah, no. So what happens is, you pledge basically, and then as soon as the campaign finishes on the day and the minute that it finishes, if it's over its goal, all of the funds are then taken out at that moment from everyone's credit cards. So once that's done, you're done. The money's gone.
Yeah.
Then it's up to and if they take 2 years to get back to you, you can complain, you can, try and communicate with them and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
But pretty much you've paid the money and they haven't given you the thing, which is where there's a bit of a risk that you don't have in a comic book shop, because you physically get the thing and it's like, well, I've got it. Which is another reason why I want people to know up front, the thing is ready. I just need to take it to the printers when I get the order in. So I like to think of it more like you're ordering this thing rather than you're helping me build this thing from scratch. The other issue is, artists are they can hike up their prices as time goes on. They can disappear. They can have, life events kick in and all that sort of stuff. So you could lose your artist midway through a campaign. And then, so I'll give you a classic example, a campaign that I've done for Enmity, which is a pretty cool project about the daughter of the devil wandering the post-apocalyptic world looking for her deadbeat dad, essentially. Available from ASAP Comx online and through their Any One World platform. There you go. I've done my duty. I've spruiked it. Anyway, so I started issue 1 of that. I've got it here. Issue 1 of that thingy. It's very distinctive style of. Oh wow, that's a great one to open up to, isn't it? Nazi Germany. It's So it's a very distinctive style for issue 1. Oh, that's pretty. There we go. So it's so it's either Nazi stuff or nudie stuff. Anyway. It's about as racy as it gets, but anyway. So a very distinctive style. Then the war in Ukraine hit, and I was working with a Russian group to put that together. And then it's like, I don't feel comfortable. Nothing against the group, but it's like, I don't feel comfortable doing this anymore. And there's going to be, sure enough, Australia's going to come in and say, no, you're not allowed to deal with Russian, people and all that sort of stuff. So it was really, plus they had hiked up their price. So there was a bit of an issue there as well. So I had to find another artist. And then the second artist, great, amazing artist named Dave Schwartz. I've done a couple of comics with him. He's completely different style. Like, it looks completely different. So now I'm faced with 2 books, different styles. What do? I put a campaign together. You sell them both together. So now I'm thinking I'm just going to use a different artist for every issue and just make it like it's totally on purpose.
Yeah.
It's all about perspectives and stuff. But that can happen midway through a campaign, and you can, lose an artist or whatever else, and that can cause issues. So it's a slight gamble, but if you can see someone has already run successful campaigns in the past, it's a pretty good bet they'll be fine, for this one. So yeah, it is.
Okay.
Which I think is
Trust
interesting.
this man.
Does the change of artists and styles it's visual storytelling. Does it affect how the story goes? I mean, an artist could place a mood slightly different than what you have it on paper. Does it matter at all?
Yeah, 100%. There are if I'm talking to someone and they're now, I'll start with the caveat. I am no expert. I've done a lot of comics. I've made a huge amount of mistakes. I am no expert. There are so many things I do not know. That's out of the way. This is all opinion. But in my expert opinion, if someone comes to me and they say, oh, I'm doing a comic for the first time, the first thing I would say is once you've got your script and you've worked out what you want and you kind of got an idea of the look and feel of what you're after, certain artists are really good at certain genres and certain types of characters and action and monsters, if that's, you know, part of the sort of thing. So it absolutely affects it. So the moving from Enmity 1 to Enmity 2, Enmity 2, the way that Dave does his characters, they have this sort of angular kind of angular jaws and look to them. And his stuff leans towards, it's really good with, you know, steampunk, 19th century kind of that cool stuff. So I started a new comic called Bloodsmith, which is coming out in October through Comx to movies. Get involved, people. So I started that. See, there's another one. I'm going to get as many of these things as I can. I started that purely on the back of knowing what his work was like. I thought, well, I need to write a story that suits his artwork because it'll work. It'll mesh really well rather than I need to come up with a story. It was like, what stuff does he do really well? And of course I send the script to him and he's like, oh, dude, this is going to be amazing because it's right in his ballpark. So yeah, it does change things, and different people write different ways. I write a very loose script, as detailed as I can be for the artist, but it's really a 50-50 thing. So I'll wait until the artwork comes back and then I'll adjust the lettering to suit, you know, the mood and where the action is. And it really is a process of writing a draft, getting the artwork back. And then when you're editing, that's when you're really crafting the story to fit everything, which is easy because it means I don't need to be okay. There's only one thing that sometimes happens when there's a language barrier. Working with US artists or Aussie artists, super easy because the language thing's pretty good and the cultural stuff's fine. Sometimes working overseas, I was working with one guy and there's one panel and I was saying, oh, the guy's supposed to have glasses in this bit. Could you just put glasses in him? Yeah, sure. Sends the thing back and I'm staring at this page thinking, I know he's definitely not wearing. Yeah, you got it. He's not wearing glasses. And it took me like a solid 10 minutes of staring at this thing. And then I saw the glass of water on the table and realized, oh. So I quickly took a photo of my glasses and sent it back and said, no, these glasses, not that glass. And it all worked out. You can have moments like that as well. Yeah.
Well, I did mention earlier in the video how Morgan has helped us out here at AussieVerse with a couple of things here and there. One of those being a little segue into AussieVerse's Thought of the Week.
And now it's time for the AussieVerse Thought of the Week.
You would think an organization like Amazon would know how to pack books, especially the expensive ones. Oh, but no. We get books that are dinged, crushed, and whatever not. Hey, that's life.
Never ever did I expect that one day I'd be so excited about how well Kitty Litter clumps. But here I am.
I'm still thinking about Kitty Litter clumping. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm a man in my middle years, and it was a long time. I was in my 40s. No, I was in my 20s. I'm now 25. Anyway, it was a long time before I realized that not everyone else, when they eat celery, gets a tingle in their mouth. Because I went to the internets and found out that I'm allergic to it. But it took me like 35, 40 years to figure out that I'm allergic to a thing and that not everyone else is the same. And it's celery. Of all the things I can do without celery. That's the lesson.
Australia, are you sick of shitting yourself? I don't blame you. Do you like chocolate milk? Sure, I do. Who doesn't? Don't be stupid. Well, guess what? You can now buy oat chocolate milk. No more going to the toilet after enjoying a yummy snack. I've got to look at the screen now and press a button. Oh, this one. Oh, I just realised I shouldn't go last. Thank you, Morgan, for creating that video for us. I hope this is that I enjoy those segments. And you were telling us about, ironically enough, a character in your book that suffers the same debilitating issue.
I am, as we speak now, I should have done this earlier, but I did not think of it. I am just putting together an image for you, which will show you exactly what I'm talking about. So yes, the character, Nick Holden, the main character, has a battle with digestive issues related to gluten and that sort of stuff, and he's obsessed with chocolate milk, like unhealthily obsessed with chocolate milk. So I will send you an image very shortly.
Sure.
As I try and talk and do two things at once.
No, you said
do
that. In the meantime, I've got a question for Sizzle. Sure, I'm just winging this as I go.
Oh, okay.
What's your shirt there, Sizzle? What's Radical?
Radical is a character from a comic called Radical, and that is done by Ed Kersley, an Australian creator.
Nice.
And I don't have the comics in reach, but yeah.
Sharif, what's that shirt you're wearing?
Oh, I got this as a present from someone. Dude, Comx, our sponsors. who are they? We'll let you know.
In just a moment. I'm wearing pajamas. That's all you need to know. Now, a question that I do have, Morgan, if you can slowly answer it as you continue doing what you're doing, is you were saying that with this Kickstarter, it's 128 pages, correct? Something like that.
It's 128 pages, yeah. It'll end up being a few more because I always throw a few extras in, but yeah.
Which you're saying is like about 4 issues in one. So is there more of the Blood Below to follow from this?
There is more of the Blood Below to follow. So there's another 3. Sorry, I had to count 3 issues. It took me that long to count to 3, ladies and gentlemen. There's another 3 issues to come, which will close out the story, and I'll stick some. I have some extra artwork and stuff that didn't sort of make the final cut, so I'll add that into the final version. So the goal is the next big campaign for this one would be Volume 2, and this is Volume 1, Volume 2, and that would close out the main story. Yeah, that's the plan, and that would follow the story that happened in the happens in the novel version of this. And as I speak, I am sending you, by the power of doing 2 things at once, a link to an image with 2 side-by-side interior pieces that kind of display the character's affection for chocolate milk and what happens when he partakes of the chocolate milk. Because I thought I've never read of a character that has that as a thing, because it's not a world-ending thing. It's not like, he's got a demon in the back of his head or something. Maybe he's got one in his gut, but I just thought it would be really fun to write a character that's just got this niggling thing that he's always battling with, but it's such a silly thing. And that's what it is. All right, here we go. Oh, the tension is killing me.
Oh, you can't see that? No, you can't.
No.
Okay.
I can see
I can see a
I can't
Dropbox
see the
link.
picture.
Okay, one sec, because I downloaded that. Talk amongst yourselves.
So,
right.
Morgan,
Yeah.
have you ever read The Talisman by Bachman or Stephen King when it was revealed that Bachman was Stephen King?
No, but I've
I'm
only
getting
read
real Talisman vibes from the art.
from this.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
But I
have
think
to
it's a
read
little different. I don't think in your book they're traveling between worlds, but in Talisman they travel between worlds.
Yeah, there is a bit of it's got to do with dreams and this place within a kind of dream world where
So I love that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to this book.
I did it.
Yeah, it's there you go. staring longingly at the thing, and then eventually he does, get in there and
see if I can make this bigger.
I mean, that's what happens, you know. That's what happens.
Oh,
yeah.
chocolate in, chocolate out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn it.
Let's go through this. I don't know why you keep torturing yourself like this, Holden. You know how it will end. Same way it always does. We've all got our vices, Jack. Just let me have mine. Looks at a chocolate milkshake the same way I do. Damn it. Okay, so I spoke to Sally Fielding's employer. She says Sally was a model employee. She has 2 girls and the husband died years ago. Seemed happy and fairly well adjusted.
This is a lot later in the story, by the way. So
a lot later, okay.
This is like, a long. This isn't immediately after.
I hear you're progressing with the investigation, Detective. Believe me, Detective, this is not what it seems. You'll no doubt consider Detective Gray's disappearance a significant setback. Because it smells like a fucking shit sandwich from where I'm sitting. Setback? Are you fucking serious?
Yeah. And of course, it does smell like that because of where he's sitting. That's for anyone that's taken a call while they were on the John when they probably shouldn't have answered. You know?
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Morgan. I sincerely appreciate it. It was long overdue. I'm sorry I did not reach out earlier. But needless to say, anytime you want to come on, mate, even if it's got nothing to do with the Kickstarter, you just want to shoot the breeze with us here at AussieVerse, feel free. Definitely when you have more to promote, let us know as well.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Will do. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you guys on this awesome Sunday afternoon/night time.
And that brings us to the end of the program. We want to say thank you. Please like, subscribe, because we do want AussieVerse to continue to grow. And how have we done that? With the help of that, I nearly called you that Sizzle guy, that Comx guy, Sizzle, down there, that gentleman below me, who really should be well and truly above me, has helped this community more than anybody ever knows. Not only does he put out there this Comx community, he makes sure that all of this Australian community is growing together with his own YouTube channel, website, and a whole lot more. If you want to know all about Comx, please go to the website where you will see all sorts of things about comic book creators, artists, illustrators, and you can buy the comics too. It doesn't matter how many you buy. It is one flat shipping rate. If you want to know more within Australia, if you want to know more, here we go. And we'll see you next time here at AussieVerse. And as usual, Sharif, what is AussieVerse?
For life, baby.
This show is sponsored by the Comx Shop. Check out comx.cx for all things Comx and find out what Comx is all about. We hope you enjoyed the show.